a really super simple way of using Circle with Kajabi, Podia, Teachable, Thinkific, or any online LMS to amp up your engagement in a hurry. So this is Ian from Mindful Marketplace, and welcome back to Serve at Scale. This is our community podcast where we look at innovative ways to 10x your audience, your output, your impact, and ultimately your income on a bootstrap budget. So I'm going to share an epiphany that we sort of arrived at fairly recently in the last couple of weeks. I'm recording this on the 5th of June, 2021. I would say in the last month or so, actually. And this is not mine. This came from a learning experience that I had myself working with someone who's far better at education planning, someone who's naturally a teacher in the real world and who designs learning experiences for other teachers, again, in a real world setting. And the idea here is using cohort-based courses and cohort-based communities to deliver your content, your courses, the engagement element of your, of the content that you're offering to your members in a very, very cohort-oriented way. So this may not be a complete revelation to many of you who may be better at structuring content and courses for your community, but it's something that we've never done. And if you look at our partners.mindfulmarketplace.com, you can see some of our courses which are delivered on Podia. We have other courses on other tools like Pathwrite or WooCommerce. And essentially, and I'm going to yell at my dog who's about to go out and bark at a squirrel. Ziva, please don't bark. Come here, sweetie. So, come here, baby. So one of the things that we started doing on the advice of this person far more experienced with actual course content than I, is creating very small cohorts for each course. So let's say course number 1 in the past, we would teach on Podia and then, give the content would be delivered on Podia via email and via the community or via the Podia community, and then we'd augment that with a Circle community or a Mighty Networks community or a Buddy Press community. All of these things in the past I've tried. And essentially you'd have like initial engagement, so people would be excited about buying the course, then they'd be excited about being part of a community, and then you'd have some sort of like engagement that would slowly ebb away and drop off, and you'd have nothing, right? So after 3 days, you'd have day 1 you'd have 100% engagement or 90% engagement. Day 3 you'd have 70%. Day 7 you'd have 50%, and then by 30 days out you'd have really nobody who's you'd have a couple people who are still sort of interacting with the course content, and it's generally only the new people at any given point who are excited and who are really engaged with the course and the community. And really, the interesting thing is this is not a commentary on what people are saying about the content, right? So people are really telling us how much they like the content, the videos, the PDFs, all that stuff is getting really, really high remarks and regard from our students. But I can see via analytics that they're not actually doing as well as they say they are, or they're not actually engaging, consuming the content with as much enthusiasm as they're telling us that they are. So you have this mixed bag where you have on one hand people are saying, wow, I love your stuff and I'm really getting a lot out of it, but I can also see analytic wise from a measurement basis that they're not going through the content with the enthusiasm that they claim they are. So this is what's changed, creating these very, very specific cohorts for each course and having them be you can segment these or silo these or bucket these in whatever way is most intelligent for you. But I found that doing it by month was really, really helpful. So let's say I'm recording this on the 5th of June, 2021. So our next cohort that we're doing starts on June 14th, 2021. And it's a 30-day cohort, right? So all the people who sign up for that are together for 30 days and they have lifetime access thereafter, but they're only in that cohort for 30 days together. Nobody else is involved in that, right? So no one else can join that. And then the next cohort might start on August 14th. And you have this short window where people can sign up, and then they go through this experience together in a very pathwise way, in a very lesson oriented way. So each lesson builds and leads to the next lesson, and you have this really, outcome oriented experience where people are accountable to each other and they're really going through all this in a group, right? And the other real key thing for us has been this idea that the community is, or the course and the community is only 50% your responsibility. The other 50% is your cohort's responsibility. So they are actually creating the content, delivering the epiphanies, the insights, the eureka moments to each other as much as you are offering them through the content that you're teaching. And this has really been incredibly freeing in some respects, because you don't feel all the pressure to do all of the work yourself. You realize that there is an accountability piece that you're actually broadcasting, you're advertising that up front. You're saying when you join this group, this is part of what you're expected to do, to create these sort of experiences for each other and to be part of a group that is committed to an outcome, right? So it's a really completely different way of integrating courses with community by dint of this cohort-based experience idea. And, it's interesting because I've been looking at some of the other people who are really good at education. And again, they're generally not marketers, right? They're not people like me who are, content marketers or writers or online teachers. It's generally people who really understand how people learn on a much more in a much more sophisticated way. And I can tell you that it's just been transformative in the early parts of this experience for us, or this experiment, I could even call it, where people are signing up for something on Podia and we're saying, hey, here's some content and here's the actual course, but the course is delivered on Circle, and it's delivered from June 14th to August 14th, and you have 60 days together where you are going to achieve the following things in a very stepwise fashion. You're going to be accountable. You're going to be committing to interacting with each other and to telling us how you're doing, what sort of results you're getting, what challenges you may be facing, et cetera, et cetera. And then after August 14th, you are an alumni and you've sort of graduated from this experience, and then you're dumped back into this, general population, like the Gen Pop piece of the platform, where you've now gone through this experience. You maybe have a badge that says you still have access to that private space, but at the same time, you're now a member of the group at large as well, and you can opine and share and contribute in all sorts of cool and creative and helpful new ways. So it builds this sort of brand loyalty and creates these sort of evangelical sorts of experiences from the standpoint of the people who are going through this. They feel really committed to the group and to the community and to the cohort and course and content. Ziva, please don't bark, baby. Come here, sweetie. This is my girlfriend's dog, who one of the three dogs who never fails to start like barking at a squirrel the moment that I'm getting to the end of one of these recordings. Anyway, so that's pretty much it, and you can integrate this. I recommend Circle because that's what we're using, and some other folks that I know are doing this really, really well on Circle. Some people that I've been speaking to over the last couple weeks who are doing this really, really beautifully using Circle. But it doesn't have to be Circle. It can be any community, piece of software that you choose. Tribe, Mighty Networks, Buddy Press, Buddy Boss, any of those sorts of approaches will work. Any real forum-oriented software actually will work as well. And the key piece again is just to differentiate the course content from the cohort content, to keep a ceiling or a bucket or a boundary around how many people are allowed, let's say, to participate in each cohort, and be willing, by the way, to to have a small cohort, and just to be like, hey, people didn't sign up for this one. You can either participate with 7 people, or for the next 30 days, or or we'll give you your money back, or we can add you into another cohort in the future. I mean, you have to be prepared for that, right? When it's not an ongoing thing and you're committing to small groups, you do run the risk that you have to actually put people into a environment where there's enough support, enough patriots, enough peers, enough compatriots that they feel a sense of connection to, that they can't get just a small group of people. So I have found that even writing content that says, hey, if we don't fill this number, we're not going to go beyond this number. So let's say the number is 25 people in a cohort, but if we don't get there, we're also not going to deliver the cohort on the 14th of June. It'll be postponed till the 14th of July, until such a time as we get the requisite amount of people to participate, because that's key to the experience that we are promising you. So anyway, it's just a new way of thinking about a lot of this stuff. It's been very, very liberating for me. I can see in just a couple small runs that we're doing now that it's really dramatically amped up the engagement and the enthusiasm. And most importantly, I'm seeing from other people who are far better at this than I, who are from the teaching standpoint, who understand sort of structural, teaching systems better than I do, that it's working for them in a much more robust way over the course of the last 3, 4, 5 months. And also, I'm seeing other folks who I have respect for. I know Seth Godin, for an example, has his workshop-oriented school content community stuff is all set up in this very cohort-like way, which I sort of serendipitously stumbled onto in the last couple of days as I signed up for some course myself. And I'm seeing again that it's all very, very oriented around small groups that are interactive, that are highly engaged, and that are not generally taught in the way that most of these course communities are structured. So teach what you know, do what you love, wake up the world with your work. That's our mantra. I hope this has been helpful for you. Again, the tools that we use and that you may find helpful, something like Podia, we use for partners.mindfulmarketplace.com. You can see our school there, and you can also use something like Circle, which is great and is only going to get better as a really great way of delivering community and cohorts as part and parcel of a course-oriented platform. Okay, thank you so much for listening. If you have questions, mindfulmarketplace@gmail.com. If you're not part of our community, send me an email and I will respond there. Or if you are part of our community, obviously just post a comment in any of the many places and spaces where you can post a comment, and I'm happy to help to the best of my ability. Thanks so much and have a wonderful Saturday.